And hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another exciting, fabulous episode of the Terrorific Talk podcast, the podcast that aims to answer the question, why horror? Why do we love horror so much? And it is a special themed episode because it is Walking Dead talk, and I have three fabulous Twitch content creators by the names of White Llama Show, Dave X90, and Zobie. So welcome, y'all. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Yeah.
Could have had more sleep last night, but you know, it
Me-
is what it is.
Me too. I laid in bed for about 3 hours, awake, before I finally decided I guess I better get up now. It would be nice to lay in bed all day, but alas, I can't. I have to adult. Well, thank you all so much for agreeing to come on and talk. This episode is one that it's been in the works for a while, almost a little over a month, and I'm so excited to finally talk to you all about The Walking Dead and zombies and stuff.
I'm so excited.
Me.
Yeah, should be good.
Hey. And thank you, Dave, for the secret host. Tried to get one in on me there. All right, so what I thought I would do is I would let each of you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about who you are, what you do in the content creation world. So let's go ahead and first start with Llama. So Llama, you are up first.
Yeah, so I'm White Llama Show, rebranded. I used to be White Llama Poo Poo, but we ended up flushing out the crap. I am a variety streamer that specializes mostly in single-player, story-driven games. Right now we're doing some of that Red Dead 2, but I stream 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday, nonstop. That's all I do. Work, stream, sleep. That's me.
That's pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much me too. And Llama and I go way back. We've known each other for about about as long as I've been streaming, almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yep, and we met at PAX South, I think, in 2017, if I remember correctly. Yep. So we go way back. And now, Dave, you're up next.
Okie dokie. Give me a sec.
Okay.
So, I am a variety content creator on Twitch. I've been streaming since the 5th of July. Basically, what I do is just do what I can to support and help people that are fantastic, wonderful people. Also promote unity, community positivity. I'm one of Ashton's community managers, stream team manager of the Llama Farm, and also mod for some other streams as well. And whatever I can do to make Twitch, all the bright lights of Twitch shine brighter, that's it. So I have the mindset that love and support, they're not transactional, they're natural. They're things that really you should give because you want to, not because you have to, not because you're trying to get something out of it. That's really me in a nutshell.
Aw, that's so cute.
So wholesome.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I'm just like, yeah, I'm Brandy, I do stuff. That's pretty much just like, he just blew everybody just right out of the water. Thanks a lot.
Wow, I have to follow that.
Yeah, Zobie, that's a tough
Sorry.
act. That's a tough act to follow,
Dave.
but go ahead.
All right. Well, my name is Zobie. I'm a variety streamer. I mainly do single-player RPGs, story-driven games, stuff like that. Because I have a horrible internet situation right now that makes streaming a little difficult, and I can't stream online games, which sucks because I love those kind of games a lot. But I am staying positive through it as much as I possibly can. Currently working on Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. I took a little bit of a break from streaming the past 2 weeks because I had to deal with some stuff, but I'm excited to get back this week. I don't know what else to say about myself. That's what I stream. I like making people laugh. I make stupid jokes.
And
I do stuff.
Cool.
Yep. And my name is Brandy, and I also do stuff.
Yeah, doing stuff.
Yeah, doing stuff is great.
For doing stuff.
Yay! All right, so let's just go ahead and just jump right into things. And I will start with just a general question for anybody who wants to pick it up and answer it first. So, would you call yourselves horror fans, like really hardcore horror fans, or are you like casual horror fans that mainly you either play Walking Dead games or read The Walking Dead or watch The Walking Dead every now and again. So whoever wants to pick that up first.
Every horror movie that comes out, no matter what the reviews are, I'm the first in the theater to go see. Every single thing that has anything to do with horror, no matter how stupid it looks, I will go see. So yeah, I would say I'm a pretty hardcore horror fan.
Even the crappy ones?
Oh, especially the crappy ones. Those are the best ones.
So you camp out for tickets like the night before like it starts? Are you that hardcore? Or do you just wait the day of?
No, I mean, it's 2019. You know, you can now reserve your tickets. So I don't do the whole camp it out thing anymore. But yeah, I'm one of I'm open at night. I'm always there.
Yeah, you young ones do not know the pain of having to wait for 3 to 4 hours in line just to get the choice seat that you want.
Amen.
Yeah. And Dave, Zobie, whoever wants to answer the question next, same to you. Would you call yourself hardcore horror fans or more casual?
I don't know about hardcore. I don't think I'd say that because I'm not necessarily a wuss when it comes to horror, but I do get scared pretty easily. But I do enjoy horror movies and horror games and that kind of stuff. So maybe like a notch below hardcore horror fan and just a horror fan, but not casual, you know?
Okay, so sandwich somewhere in between casual and hardcore. Okay, whatever the name of that category is, I don't know.
Medium?
But a medium horror fan.
Medium horror fan?
There we go. So Dave, are you casual, medium, or hardcore horror fan?
I don't know. I'd say probably. I don't actively seek out horror things, but I'll watch them if they're good. If that makes sense. It's saying if I'll play things if they're good, but then, yeah, I don't know. It's probably like casual medium. We'll just make another one there as well. Just why not?
So we're just making like a whole kind of horror spectrum, like horror fan spectrum. So you're casual medium. Have a good night, coffee. Disaster coffee. I just call her coffee. Which I need more of today. Like, seriously. Oh, man. Alright, so let's go ahead now and transition into, guess let's go ahead and jump right into talking about The Walking Dead. So, you're all fans of The Walking Dead in different kind of perspectives. You're either a fan of just the games, or you're a fan of the comics. You're, like myself, you're a fan of the show. You're a fan of both the show and the comics. So, I will throw this question out to whoever wants to answer it. So, what is it that attracts you to The Walking Dead, besides the fact that zombies and the zombie apocalypse? So, what is it about The Walking Dead that kind of makes you go, whoa?
From the perspective of the game, so it's the developing story and character arc. So it's very good because from the first season to now the final one, I've only played up to the second episode of the final one, but you can see that everything you've made and all the choices you've made mattered in a way, and also that characters have developed, some unexpectedly, and then some have developed in ways thinking, oh yeah, so I knew that would happen. But yeah, that's sort of what drew me in, because it's not. Because sometimes you can play a game and be like, oh, well, that didn't matter, did it? But with The Walking Dead, it drew me in with that, and also with everything happening around it. And it's very good, very good.
And I assume you're speaking of the Walking Dead Telltale games.
Yes, the Telltale games. I haven't played any of the other one.
Don't.
Yeah, I've heard they're not the brilliant, so...
Yeah. Who's your favorite character in the Walking Dead games?
I'd have to say Clementine. Just always from the first one to now, I just like how her character's developed, and always Clementine, then probably Lee second.
It's really like kind of tied for me between Clementine and Lee. I don't know, did they have to like keep finding some excuse to bring Lee back and breaking my heart like all over again? It's like, thanks a lot. Zobie and Llama, have you ever played any of the Walking Dead games?
No, and I didn't know that Lee ever came back, so, spoilers. No, it's okay. I never played any of the games, but I used to watch playthroughs on YouTube of people playing them, because I think that was before I had a computer or anything, before I was into computer gaming at all. So, yeah, I could never play them on my own. I always watched them, and I don't remember the last stuff I saw, but I'd have to agree that Clementine is a pretty great character. Her character progression and her growth is just crazy.
Yeah.
Especially for how young she is, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, for a kid growing up in the zombie apocalypse, that's just pretty much their world now, and that's all they've ever known. I can't imagine like being a kid trying to grow up in that kind of environment. Crazy. So, Llama, have you played any of the Walking Dead games?
I haven't. It's still on my to-do list. I was waiting for basically the whole series to come out before I just binged them, because it would kill me to end on a cliffhanger and then not have to wait for months or sometimes years to be able to do it. I have to do it all in one go, so I've been waiting.
You have a lot to binge through then.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez. Well, the 4th episode of the final season is almost out, so if you wanted to like get a go on that, then then that would probably be a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then we've got Zobie and Llama, who are fans of. You call yourself like fans of both like the comics and the show. I remember you, Llama, saying like, "Well, I'm a fan of both, but if I had to say anything, I would go like I'm more of a fan of the show than of the comics." So, what is it about the show that attracts you so much to it?
And as far as all of The Walking Dead, I think what's unique about The Walking Dead is, in every media, is that instead of the zombies being the central theme and it's kind of cool how they take a zombie apocalypse and show that in the midst of all of this apocalypse, the most dangerous aspect aren't even the zombies. The zombies are like side characters, and the most dangerous people are still people. And at the core of the show, and of course the comic books and every form of media, it's about the character development. Sometimes it takes a little bit too long, I feel, to develop these characters, and that's the show's not perfect. I do have my gripes about it, but just the character development, how you see somebody go from season 1 all the way to now and see how things grow and develop. I think the villains are really cool. You had the governor, now the best villain of all time, Negan. Love him. So, it's really all about the characters as opposed to, the horror side of it being zombies. The zombies are just little add-ons there to just move the dialogue and plot along.
Yeah, the zombies are the ones that are the most predictable, as you said. Like, I 100% agree in that how they're like side characters, and the apocalypse is the backdrop, and it's all about the people, and pretty much, and just like, can you actually trust people?
Right.
Right. And we'll get to like also like the gripes about the show just submitted, because I kind of like have my gripes too about it as well. And Zobie, you call yourself like a fan of both the show and the comics, and I was kind of that fan for a long time, to where I would keep giving the show chances, and then I was just like, no. After season 8, I was just like, I'm done. But what is it about the show and the comics that makes you be like, I like both?
I mean, I definitely feel you that you keep trying to give it a chance and it keeps letting you down, because I'm kind of getting to that point where it's just like getting to be a little too much, but I still watch it because I love it and I love the characters so much. But I actually, I had never even heard of it until like the second season came out, I think. So I started watching at the second season, and then I went back and watched the first season. And after I, caught up with the first and second season, I started reading the comics, because I didn't know it was a comic book either. Yeah. So my uncle came over, I think it was for Thanksgiving or something, and brought like this huge box of like every single issue that was up to date at that time, which was, this was probably like 5 or 6 years ago when I started reading the comics. So he brought this huge box over, and I read like, I don't know how many I read. I read so many, and like I caught up to everything that was happening like past the show, and I felt so proud about it. I was like, oh my gosh, now I know what's gonna happen, like when the show, catches up to the comic books and everything. And I thought it was really cool, because the show really well followed the comics in the beginning, and it was pretty cool to see them do that with a comic book and like follow it so closely with a TV show iteration. So I don't know. The comics are really good. The show's pretty good. The show is definitely better in the earlier seasons, but you said we'll get into the gripes later, so I don't want to get into that too much. But
yeah, I heard it's kind of veered especially in this new season, kind of veered like so far away from the comics that it's almost like its own alternate universe now. I don't know about season 9. Like, I stopped watching after season 8 because I was like, I refuse.
It's nice when they like reference those little things in the comments, or they have like the big characters, or like, you know, like the Whisperers, or like Negan, or the Governor that came from the comics that they did put in the show. Even if they did change some small details about it, like, I think having those characters in the show from the comics is super important and definitely help the show.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than them going on their own track, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. So to give people that read the comics something to connect to, like a central baddie or a central good guy but who is actually good in that show? Like, that's kind of like a philosophical question there.
The real question.
Yeah, the real question. Dave, let me ask you this because I'm curious. You said you play the games. Have you read any of the comics? Have you watched the show? Or are those just things that don't interest you?
I haven't read any of the comics, and I've watched bits of the show, so I've watched like select episodes of different seasons because my dad used to watch it. I'm not sure if he does anymore, so I know like little bits and pieces about what's going on, but sort of in a broken format because I could watch like a string of episodes from season 1, and then the next time it'll be 2, and then I think there's been gaps in between. So I've watched bits of it, but not anything cohesive. And what I watched I enjoyed, but of course I didn't have the context to really link together all of what was happening with the characters and things like that, so it probably wasn't as impactful on me as it would have been someone following it from the start.
It's kind of like what I was in the beginning too, more of like a broken like watcher. Like, I watched season 1, and then just like with season 3 I was on TV, I kind of like stopped like halfway through and like went back to season 2 whenever it was on Netflix. So I've kind of like just been back and forth about it. But let me also pose this question like to like everybody, and this is just an in general question. Do you think that reading something like, say, a movie or a show that is based on a book or a graphic novel or a series of comics, do you think that reading that is necessary to get the context as to what's going on in a movie or a show?
I don't think so. I think it helps. You learn more about the characters through reading, but it's like, it just focus on The Walking Dead. They have enough differences to where if you never touch the comic books, if you never play the games, if you never do anything, you can just watch the show and have 100% knowledge of everything that you need in order to watch the show. And that's one of the things I like about it, is actually that they deviate from the comic books. They have the central themes, but then they can go a million different directions. So even if you've read the comic books, you still don't know what the hell's going to go on. You have an idea, and then they'll throw a curveball at you and say, aha, you thought you knew what we were going to do. But no, you some things it helps to read the original material, but in the frame of The Walking Dead, it's not really that important.
Zobie, Dave, do you feel the same way?
I think so. I wouldn't say necessary, but it does help. And definitely when it comes to The Walking Dead, like Llama said, you're not going to miss out on anything that you wouldn't get from reading the comics and watching the show. You know, they're both different enough but the same that, you know, it helps, but it's definitely not necessary. And like, not to get too much away from horror or anything, but like one of the big ones that comes to mind when talking about stuff like that is like Harry Potter, because a huge a huge amount of people have not read the Harry Potter books but really enjoy the movies. And movies can sometimes be a lot worse to a book because there's, you know, more context to put into like a 2-hour movie, you know, rather than a TV show that's spanned almost 10 years now. But yeah, it definitely helps, and there's obviously going to be differences, but I don't think it's necessary at all.
Dave, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah, I agree that it isn't necessary to have took in any of the other source material, and it's also good if it does deviate slightly from there. So, for example, if you've seen the film Ready Player One and read the book, both of them are actually different, but that they're different in a way of you can enjoy both, but also can see the links between. And sometimes for something to solidly follow it, it can get a little bit, well, I've read this before, I've seen this before, whereas it surprises you, which is better in my opinion.
Right, now let's jump into and talk about the positives and what we like about like the varying aspects of The Walking Dead. So a general question again I will throw out to everybody is favorite character, favorite season, just favorite just like anything about anything regarding The Walking Dead. So I leave it to whoever wants to answer first.
Favorite character, Negan.
And why is that?
They cast the perfect guy for Negan. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is when I saw that they got him, I knew already without even seeing anything he was going to knock it out of the park. I'm full hashtag Team Negan all the way. I hope he remakes Lucille and just starts bashing people again because, my God, he's perfect. So, yeah, Negan.
So I also heard you say that you liked the governor as well. What makes you like Negan a little bit more than the governor?
The governor was smart, but impulsive. Negan is just brutal, but he knows exactly why he's doing every single thing. So everything's calculated and he doesn't deviate from his plan. He's like, I'm gonna go over there, we're gonna surround him this way, we're gonna have this plan, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and he's gonna follow it to the T, and nothing's gonna make him change his mind about anything. And that's what I love about him. And yeah, the governor was weak at the end of the day. Even though he was real interesting at first, he was real weak. Man, Negan. Yeah, I can't praise him enough.
Yeah, I thought that season 3 governor was a little bit more weak than season 4 governor. It's when like season 4 he started to come more into his own, and like that's the governor that I was looking for. Is right there.
Yeah.
Is that guy that's like right there. But okay, Zobie, I heard that you, and then I think I interrupted. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to add on to that so bad because I don't want to make this whole thing about just like the villains of The Walking Dead, but like Negan's character is such a good character, and his character, like he hasn't had much character development, but like for a villain, he's still a human, and it is awesome to see that. Hold on.
She's so excited that she can't even contain herself. That's funny. Yeah, I get that a lot too. Like whenever, like sometimes, like when I'm streaming, like someone will have a question, I'll be like, "Hold on a second, what?" I don't know if you all get that too whenever you're streaming.
I am so sorry.
No, it's okay.
So awkward when somebody walks into the room because then I'm just like,
yeah.
Hi.
No, it's like, so you were talking about Negan and just what a good character that you thought he was.
Yeah, he is such a good character. Like, he's a villain, and he has his purpose, and he has his reasoning for why he is, you know, such a brutal character, and, like, honestly doesn't really care that he's a violent murderer, but, like, he's still human. Like, the connection he had with Carl was one of my favorite things of the recent seasons, because it just made it humanized him, you know? It showed that he actually, like, cares and has a soul, even though he's a monster, you know? And then when it comes to the governor, hair in my mouth. Sorry. When it comes to the governor was so much more brutal in the comics, and it actually, like, he was squishy in the show, and it was very boring, you know? It wasn't like I don't know if you remember the part in The Walking Dead where they first meet Negan, and Negan's, like, about to cut off Rick's hand, you know? Mm-hmm. That, in the comics, the governor actually did cut off Rick's hand, like, way back when, and I was so upset that didn't happen, because, like, can you imagine, like, all those seasons of Rick with one hand? Like, it would have changed so much about the show, and it would have made the governor such a badass villain, not just a squishy villain who falls apart because he meets some girl, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of see your point there.
Yeah, he was very brutal in the comics.
Yeah, he was. And it's just like the wall of heads that they put like in the show. It was almost like, to me, it was just like, see, look, he's like actually like a sick guy. It's just like, no. It's just like you haven't.
Couldn't buy it.
No, it's like you didn't give me any context, like for me to believe that he'd actually do something like that. All right, and Dave, like, so favorite aspect of anything just about The Walking Dead. So I know you kind of like mentioned your favorite characters from the game, so you could talk like more about the game, what you like about it, or if you want to like get more into the show or the comics, you can do that too. Just whatever you like about The Walking Dead.
That's a good question. I'd say with the games, still the best season was the first season, because I think it had a very good arc for all the characters in development, and also had a nice bit of actions have consequences sort of thing about it. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what else as well. And there are there are also unexpected things that happen. So you'd make a choice and think, oh, okay, so that person's now quite, that person's fine, and then of course they weren't fine. They'd get brutally murdered. She's like, no. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, why are you doing this to me, game? Yeah, there was so
there was just like, no.
There's
Into that.
I know, there were so many heartbreaking moments during that game. It's just like, oh god. I won't spoil it like for any like, for Zobie and Llama who have not played either at all or the certain like seasons, but man, it is a ride. It like tissues. Lots and lots of tissues. Make sure that you have those.
What your question that we're talking about right now was like, what's your like? Was it about favorite character, like favorite like part of the show or the comics, or
it could just be like anything in general.
Okay.
So just like whatever you like.
To add on to that, the emotional aspects of the show, like of The Walking Dead, are some of my favorite parts of it. Like those moments where like somebody dies or like something bad happens and you just like break down in tears. Like that's what has kept me hooked so long, because there have been so many of those like heartbreaking moments, and like I just love that emotional connection to games and shows and movies, and that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, when a writer can get you so invested and so emotionally involved in the character that when they finally like kick the bucket, it's almost like you lost one of your family members in a way.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite aspects about anything regarding The Walking Dead is the writing. The writing, I think, has just been, for the show, it's kind of been 50-50. I've liked more seasons than others, but for the most part, I feel just like, the way you do as far as the show goes, Zobie, about the writing and the emotional investment. Because, case in point, one of my favorite characters isn't even in the comics, Merle. Merle ended up being one of my favorite characters.
Oh, yeah? Because
of the way that he was not in the comics or the show. They had to like completely invent him, and just the way that he I don't know, it's just like the way that he started and just like the way that he evolved to where like he didn't like really care too much for Rick, but then he had to end up working with Rick. It's just, I don't know. And Michael Rooker, I love Michael Rooker.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, can't go wrong with Michael Rooker.
I think the relationship he had with his brother Daryl too was a pretty important part to Daryl as well, because that was like, I mean, well, okay, I don't want to, I mean, it was like, what, 7 years ago when Merle died? I think it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
When Merle died, and like, it's not really a character that anybody's gonna get too upset over dying, but seeing Daryl upset about it broke my heart.
Because that was pretty much the only like connection that he had left as far as family goes, and then like once that was lost, it's just like, yeah, that was a pretty rough episode.
That was rough.
Yeah.
Seeing Norman Reedus cry just breaks my heart.
It's like, stop, it's okay. Here's a tissue. Okay, let me give you a hug. All right, now where do you all stand in terms of Daryl? Because everybody that like that's Walking Dead like fans seems to have thoughts on Daryl. They either really like him as a character or they really hate him as a character. I never heard any in between. So just I want to know like y'all's thoughts as far as the Daryl. I call it the Daryl situation.
So this will be a first. I'm solidly in the in-between camp. So I liked him a ton the first few seasons, but I feel like the last couple of seasons or so, they've kind of, it feels like he's a background character all of a sudden, and he doesn't seem as, he doesn't show as much initiative. He doesn't seem to be as, it seems like he doesn't really want to be the leader of the group, but because, or a leader in the group. So because of that, though, the problem is that that's kind of pushed him into the background, and he seemed kind of soft a little bit. So I liked the Daryl that was almost like a co-leader along with Rick, just trying to keep the group safe and alive. But man, lately they've just written him almost out of the show, it seems like, where you just see him maybe 5 minutes out of every episode, and it's just not, I don't know, he seems a little bit weakened of late.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know how much you know about Daryl. I know that you've watched a few, like you said, like a few shows or whatever, so I don't know like what your thoughts on him as a character is, so just like, if you have any thoughts on him as a character, I'd definitely like to hear them.
From what I've seen, he seems like a good character, but I've seen bits of different seasons, so I can't really build much of a cohesive narrative from what that development is, but I believe he's a good, but that's only from my little bit of knowledge that I have.
Yeah, this is, I don't know, it's just like, I'm kind of like either sometimes I like earlier Daryl, I think, than later Daryl. I think that's my stance on it. Earlier he's great, later it's like, that's kind of like my thoughts. But Zobie, what are your thoughts?
I love him so much. I love his character. I love the actor. But I definitely agree with Llama that he has become such a minuscule character and less important part in the show lately, and it makes me so sad. But like, thinking about it a little, I think a lot of that is because he's lost pretty much every person on the show that he had any kind of emotional connection with. Like, he lost his brother, he lost Rick, he lost Beth, he lost Carl, like, he lost all these people who he had any sort of connection with. And now and Carol's still around, but he's pretty separated from the group at this point, and I don't know, it just feels sad. I know he had like such a strong connection with Carol, but like, I don't know what happened, and he just doesn't have that like badassness that he used to have in the early seasons of the show. Like, he was such a hard ass. Like, he did not care what somebody said. Like, he was gonna do what he needed to do to like keep himself and the people he cared about alive, and he seems so like whatever attitude now, and it sucks.
So more of the fact that you wish that they would continue to do more with them rather than just like stick them in the background.
Yeah, like have some new character come in that he has a connection with. Get him back together with Carol. Like, they need to be closer again, something like that, because he just like, he doesn't have anyone anymore, and it makes me sad, except his dog, which, is nice, but
He and Negan are going to become best friends, and they're going to start a side sitcom with the two of them. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen now. That's all I want out of my life, is just to see that happen. Oh my gosh. All right, now let's get into the gripes. So, any gripes that you have just about The Walking Dead games, characters, the show just as a whole, the comics. So, like, let's get those gripes out of the way, because I'm sure that we have plenty of them. So, whoever wants to start griping.
My main thing is, as much as I still love the show, and it seems to be trending upward again, so I'm really excited. This season has started off strong. Last season ended pretty strong, even though I know a lot of people disagree with what they decided to do. But that a lot of what, and I'm trying to be as vague as possible, a lot of what they tried to do was due to actors wanting to be off the show, which is always going to be a problem with any long-running TV show. my main thing is it takes forever for them to get through a story arc. I mean, it could be 2 seasons long before they get through a simple story arc. And I understand you're trying to, you can't rush through it because then, you know, you're going to run out of material after 4 or 5 seasons. But I mean, take for example, season 2, when they're on that farm for a whole season and nothing happens. They're just griping with the farm and everybody on it. And they're on the damn interstate for half the season, and I'm just like, come on, you got to do something. Get me hooked here. Get off the interstate. Finally, they get off the interstate and it moves forward. But I mean, good lord, they were looking for that little girl for way too damn long. So.
Oh my god, yeah, that just brings us to such painful memories. It's just like half of season 2 is on the farm and the other half is on that interstate.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, sometimes like pacing tended to be my main issue, like with the show. Pacing
With
for
the first couple seasons, I kind of feel the opposite about that. Like the first 2 seasons, I thought were, you know, pretty well paced. Like you had enough time to get to know those characters who would eventually, you know, become bigger parts of the show until they get killed off. But I feel like the past seasons have been so slow. Like, how long have we been dealing with Negan? Like, we've been dealing with it for like 3 seasons now. Like, I don't know. Earlier in the show, it was definitely more the zombies were the biggest threat than people were, because they hadn't met like any of these crazy groups of people until they met was it the people wherever they were with the governor, whatever that city was called they lived in. Like they didn't have to deal with anybody who treated them like that until they met the governor. So the biggest issue in the first couple seasons was the zombies, and I think that gave a lot more time for character development in those first couple seasons. But I mean, you're definitely not wrong. It was slow, but I think that's because the zombies were the biggest threat rather than all these new people, you know?
Yeah, definitely a valid point, for sure. Dave, do you have any Walking Dead gripes?
I think sometimes the games can introduce a really interesting character, but then kill them off in that episode, and you can sometimes think, oh right, they're going to have quite an interesting arc, and then it's like, oh no, they just got shot, or oh, they've just been bitten. oh no, well that's not going to go anywhere now.
I agree with you there as well. And without spoiling anything, the character of Kenny seems to be a character a lot of people have contention with, and I absolutely adore Kenny. I loved him.
I like Kenny as well.
Yeah, good. I don't see like what people like have issues with him, other than he's rough. He's very rough around the edges. But
now, quick question.
Yeah.
With The Walking Dead Telltale, I've played other Telltale games, and it gives you the illusion of having a choice, the ones that I've played. And it's still good. Like, Wolf Among Us is one of my favorite Telltale games.
Oh,
yes.
so good.
Love Wolf Among Us. But even though small things change, at the end the result was always the same. So you kind of had an illusion of choice. Do you feel like it's the same way in The Walking Dead, where little things may change, but it's really going down the same path? Or what would you say to that?
Yeah. I'll let you answer that first, Dave.
Fair enough. I'd say out of all the Telltales, I feel The Walking Dead actually gives you more feeling to your choices. So there'll be things. So for example, there are things that happen in the final season or that take place, and it's based on what you did in, say, the first and the second seasons, whereas some of the Telltales, it can be it's not as impactful. So I'd say that there's more of a, this is your path because this is what you've chosen, not you're always going to go down this way. Yeah, there's always going to be like certain things that happen because that's how games work.
Right.
But there is still ways that you can see, oh right, this is because of my choices, this has happened. It's not the game's thrown me down this way because it's got to go this way.
I feel that seasons 1 and 2 did a better job of like that emotional attachment, like to the story, like in the choices. Season 3, I have no idea what the hell was going on there. It was like my least favorite season.
That was the weakest, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then like the final season, it's kind of like, with the whole situation with Telltale Games, I can kind of like understand why at times I like it sometimes and other times I don't. To me, that feels the most linear out of all the seasons so far is the final season, to where it doesn't matter, like Llama, like you said, no matter what choice you make, you're still gonna like reach this outcome. I don't know, Dave, if you feel the same way about the final season, like what you've played of it so far.
With the 2 episodes I've played, it feels like you are being more guided down a certain path, but I believe it must be because it has to end, and there must be a way that they have decided already this is how we want it to end, so they're going to have to push you down that way anyway. Even if you're making choices to influence it, there's still a final end of situation, and it's got to go that way.
Yeah, it's sometimes with games like that have branching paths, it's kind of hard to, I guess, not go linear in certain aspects. I guess the key is like not getting too linear, I think, and that's where the final season tends to fall flat in that aspect. Still cool to see Clementina's total badass in that season, not gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So, not gonna lie, but yeah, that's kind of like one of my main gripes is about those games. Do we all have any other Walking Dead gripes? I know I got a few.
I know I definitely do when like I see something happen or like something happens and I'm like, I don't like that, but like I don't know, I can't really think of any off the top of my head other than I don't like that they'll introduce character in the show specifically. I don't like that they'll introduce a character and make it seem like this is going to be a main character and then like 5 episodes later they die. I'm just like, stop breaking my heart.
And
like that's what happened with I think, what was his name? Was his name Chris? It was the kid from Everybody Hates Chris playing whatever. Noah, that was his name. I think his name was Noah. And he was there for like half a season and got killed off. And I was like, why couldn't he have been a main character? He was such a wholesome character. Like, ugh.
I know, Noah was so sweet.
Yeah, he was such a good character. And I hated that happened. And like, so many characters that should never have died.
And
I understand why they do it though. Like, you can't have 500 people as a main character on the show, and there's going to be no drama and no plot and no progression if people don't, move on and whatever. And now that I'm like getting heated about it, one of the latest things is all the people who were leaving the show. Like, I understand you've been on the show for like 10 years, but it's changing the show so much, and I think that's a huge reason why I'm like slowing down on watching it as obsessively as I used to, because like I know a lot of people didn't like Rick and people were sick of Rick, but I loved Rick, I loved Carl, and now that Carl left because he wanted to go to school, the actor wanted to go to college because he had been on the show since he was like 10 years old, so he wanted to go to school, so they killed him off, and then Rick wanted to leave for whatever reason he said, and then the girl who plays Maggie wanted to leave. Like, I don't know if she was in this most recent season that just started, or the mid-season or whatever, but she wanted to leave. That's why she wasn't really in the last half of the other seasons, because she wants to get off the show. And then now apparently Michonne wants to get off the show, and I'm like, you're literally all the big characters. Like, I understand, I understand why they want to get off the show. It's been a long time for them, but it's just, I feel like it's just going to go downhill. I don't know what they can do with it when all these characters who have been there for 8+ years are trying to get out of it,
Without spoilers, I'm going to be as vague as possible. I think the plan, and I'm kind of curious. I want to see how it's going to work, but I think they're about to turn Negan into a good guy.
Like, to join everybody?
And I'm kind of interested. I'm not gonna get into details, but it's looking kind of interesting. I'm really interested to see the Walking Dead movies they're about to do with Rick.
Yeah,
I am too.
That was the reason that they said Michonne wants to leave, but they're probably not going to kill her off like what they did with Rick, because they want her to be in his movies.
That would be cool.
I also think one of my main gripes about The Walking Dead, besides the fact that I think that some seasons of the game are a little bit too linear, and besides the fact, I don't know, they had a habit, especially early on, of keeping characters on for longer than they're meant to be kept on, because I'm a big fan of the comics. Shane is my prime example there, and without like getting like too far into it, like if you read the comics, then you know that the whole story is just like Shane, and it just seems just to be like and nothing against John Barenthal. I think he's an amazing actor. I think like he killed it as Shane, and
So good.
I still have yet to see him in The Punisher, like the Punisher Netflix
Same.
show. So,
I haven't either.
but I don't know. They just had this thing that they kept characters for longer, really, than what was necessary. Just like you could kind of tell with the writing when they really didn't know what else to do with the characters anymore. Like case in point, Daryl too. They obviously like really don't know what else to do with them anymore.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want him off the show because he's a huge part of it, but they're running out of things to do. But no, I definitely agree about Shane. He did not get enough time. He was such a good character and such a good first villain or opposition to Rick, you know, like, oh, that was one of the best parts of the show, I think, is that whole issue and between Rick and Shane. It was so good.
Definitely.
And then when Rick was having his final episode and they had that, like, not really a flashback, but like that like vision he was having with Shane, I sobbed the whole time. I was like, I'm so happy they brought him back to do this. Like, it was such a nice touch.
The end of season 8 and the beginning of season 9, I feel like they killed it. I really do. I mean, I know that people disagree with certain things happening to certain characters again, but I feel like that the show is trending back upward. Maybe that's just the fandom in me, but I kind of am interested in, because I was starting to die off a little bit as far as my interest in the show as well, but the ending of 8 and the beginning of 9 has gotten me very interested again. So, I mean, this season with the Whispers is really going to probably define whether or not I continue watching the show. But I think they're heading in the right direction again. So I'm really interested to see how this current season plays out before making any judgments. But yeah, it was getting a little bit slow for a while there. But I think they're heading in the right direction again. Hopefully. Cross my fingers.
Yeah, and then watch it like tank.
Yeah.
That's usually just like, I hope not, but yeah.
That's whenever you have any show that's 9 seasons long, I think I can't think of many shows that are as interesting as the beginning after 9 seasons. But yet they're making boatloads of money, and it's really hard to say, hey, we're gonna end the season, we're gonna end the series here. And their spin-off shows, I can't even watch Fear the Walking Dead.
Is it any good?
I tried watching season 1 and I made it 3 episodes. I'm like, this
Same.
just isn't for me.
I could not do it. I tried so hard. I heard good things about it. Like, my dad really enjoys it. I have friends who really enjoy it, but like, I could not do it. I was like, I don't like this. I also think it's very stupid to name a spinoff pretty much the same thing with an extra word. Like, I hate the name of it. Like,
I would love a Walking Dead spinoff in the UK though. Like, I don't want them to stay in the United States.
From a non-American perspective.
Yeah, I want to see them. I want to see what's going on across the ocean.
Because
you know?
is this like, who knows? Like, it could just be like isolated. It could be a worldwide issue. Like, we don't know because there's never been any characters from outside the U.S.
I wonder.
So interesting.
I wonder, since Rick is he left to go spend time with his family and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the movies are going to be cast in the UK if they went over that way. I mean, it could be a UK Walking Dead. We'll see. I think it would be really cool to see around the world. Go to Japan.
So interesting to think about.
Yeah.
I love the zombie apocalypse set in other places. This is why I liked things like 28 Days Later. Like, whether you or not you consider them zombies is a matter like for contention, but the fact that it was set like in London and just seemed like this whole big city of London that's just completely deserted, and this guy like, what the hell's going on here? Like, yeah, I love that. Yeah, most zombie apocalypses stories I've seen, they're set in the United States. And more often than not, they seem to start in Georgia. So I guess the moral of the story is don't live in Georgia. Oh, wow.
That is weird. It's probably because the United States is already falling apart, so they just assume it's gonna start here.
And only in Georgia.
Yep. That's where it's gonna start.
Yep, it's so as long as you're living away from Georgia, I think you'll be okay. If you're living, Llama, you don't live in Georgia, right?
No.
No, okay, good. So you're safe. It's like I knew you lived like somewhere like down south, but I didn't know just like exactly where it was. So not Georgia. Okay.
But I would do great in a zombie apocalypse, for the record.
Well, I took a quiz once and it said that I would last for 364 days, so like one day shy of a year.
Oh, nearly.
Man.
Yeah.
I like to think I'd do pretty good, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. I guess we gotta test it and find out how many of us will survive.
Yeah.
I would be like one of these villains, though. That's the thing. Like, I would take care of the people around me, but yeah, I'm gonna be ruthless to make sure I'm alive.
Yeah. So you go like the route of altruism stinks, and I don't care really about anybody else other than my immediate circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this altruism gets you killed in any kind of horror scenario.
Yeah, we're only gonna let in an initial group. We'll let in people as we have need to do stuff for us and work. Other than that, you're out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hit the road, Jack.
Right.
And let me pause here and like acknowledge that we had just had a raid come into the channel, which is awesome. Daffy Dizzy brought their community over. So that is so awesome. So it looks like they said they played Doki Doki Literature Club. And so
I've yet to play.
Yeah, I need to play that. I got like through some of it. It's like, this is weird. And so I like set it aside and then like I'll have to come back to it. But welcome. You've come in on a podcast day. Like nearing like the end like of a podcast day. But yeah. Coffee. Hi, how are you? Seeing all sorts of like cool like new people, new faces. Like this is awesome. Like, oh my gosh, guys, we've been going for almost an hour. What? See, I told you that this would like go like by fast when we were talking about something that we
Especially
that
when we
all
get
like.
heated talking about all the issues.
Yeah, it's like let us spill the tea, okay? Like so, okay. So I guess let's wrap it up before like I have you talk about your streams and where people can find you on social media. So you're in a zombie apocalypse. So the zombie apocalypse has started. Where would you all go to wait it out?
To wait it out?
To
Who's
wait-
waiting in
Yeah.
the zombie apocalypse?
Yep. So you're the initial place where you would hide out until you can no longer hide there anymore.
Disney World.
Disney World.
There's so many people at Disney, though.
Yeah.
What if it starts at Disney World? There's so many people. Everybody's just gonna infect each other.
They have underground tunnels. I'll hide up in there. They probably got so many.
Secret system.
Yeah, they got so much food down there. I'll be set. I'll be the king of Disney World after the apocalypse.
Llama, king of Disney World.
You could restart civilization at Disney World.
That's right.
There you go.
That's true. Good point. Good point.
Hey, Dave, where are you going to be hiding out in the zombie apocalypse?
I don't know. I don't know. Just Google the nearest bunker and find.
Yeah.
Go there.
Nearest
There's a
bunker.
Nearest bunker.
You just
Hey,
gotta get
Google,
started making
Where's
your own
the nearest bunker?
Anywhere but Georgia.
Yes.
Anywhere but Georgia.
I mean, I'm in the UK, so that's probably a little bit far from me. So.
Don't come to the United States, Dave. That's the biggest thing.
Yes, because apparently it all starts in the United States, right
All
here
gonna
in
start
Georgia. Well, Coffee's like, I live in Georgia. It's like, well, Coffee, you're screwed as far as the zombie apocalypse goes. You need to like be moving out of Georgia. And Zobie, where would you be initially waiting out the zombie apocalypse?
I don't know. That's such a hard question. See, I'd like to go the Dave route and find a bunker or like make my own bunker or something, but you can't, eventually you're gonna run out of supplies, so you gotta I don't know. You can't wait forever.
That
The route of season 3 where they went to the prison. That's like probably the best. Kind
That
of
was
places
so
to go.
good. Yeah, like that's a fortress. That's literally a fortress when you want to survive an apocalypse. Like, probably a prison would probably be pretty good, or Walmart maybe.
Yeah, so I was kind of like thinking, like, if I had to wait out anywhere, I would go to either Sam's Club or a Walmart Supercenter and just like
Go to Target.
Yeah, no, lock all the doors and no one else can come in. Like, this is my Walmart. Because look, you've got food, you've got clothes,
furniture.
Yeah, beds maybe. I don't know if Walmart sells beds. I haven't even paid any attention to whether Walmart sells beds. I don't even know, but it's got stuff and it's got food, and that's all that matters.
Counterpoint, though, that's the first place everybody else is going to go as well, and then therefore they're probably coming for you first, and so unless you can kill them all.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides Georgia, though, the places where you would not want to go: don't go to a school, don't go to a military base, don't go to a hospital.
Yeah.
Go to 0 of those places because they will not help you. And I learned that from Romero's zombie films. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's never go to any of those places. Well, Coffee said that my Walmart idea was a great idea, so I'm gonna believe him. There we go. I don't care what Llama says. Take your counterpoint and go away.
And always remember, in the face of a zombie apocalypse, always double tap.
From Zombieland. Yeah, speaking of Zombieland, what are your thoughts about a sequel 10 years later?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
A sequel?
Yeah.
I'll definitely go see it, but with skepticism.
Did anyone see the pilot that they
what's
put
his
out?
name? Woody Harrelson is
Years
from
ago.
my hometown.
Ooh.
Oh.
I had some teachers in high school who dated him in school, and I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it's yeah, I dated Woody. It's okay. That's interesting. Yeah, Brad Pitt's from my hometown. So that's our claim that our hometown has is Brad Pitt.
Yeah, all we have is Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I feel though about Brad Pitt. Some days I like him, and other days I don't.
My mom is she likes to joke about being mad at him for breaking up with Jennifer Aniston in the 90s. She says that's why she doesn't like him. She's still mad at him for it.
Wow.
Wow.
That's quite a long time to hold a grudge.
Yeah, against somebody you don't even know.
Oh man. Oh.
That's all right. The most famous person from my hometown is Stormy Daniels.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't know who that is.
That's my claim to fame.
Funny.
That is just so random.
That's pretty random. That's funny.
No, yes, she was in X-Men, Kofi.
Yeah, totally. That was her.
Yep.
That's who that is.
Dave, any famous people from where you live? Can you claim anybody famous?
No.
Aww.
Are you sure about that, Dave?
I'm sure.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
Yeah, do some research. Oh man, that was a good one.
I'm not in London.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, I thought you were actually.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, then I'm way off. All right. I better go ahead.
I don't know anything about UK geography, so
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of the UK.
that doesn't help.
So are you on the between the border of England and Scotland? There? Is that where you mean the middle? Or do you mean the middle England?
But near Birmingham, if you know.
What the heck is
Birmingham.
that?
It's a place in the
Isn't
UK.
that the capital of Alabama?
No.
Wait, isn't it though?
No, it's not. I mean, it is all as well. Yeah,
It
it's a
is.
place in the US,
Yeah.
but it's
And
also.
there's a Dover's the capital of Rhode Island, isn't it? I know somebody
No,
from Dover.
no.
Not the Rhode Island Dover, but
Dover's capital, Delaware, I think.
is it Delaware?
Yeah. Dover, Delaware. Hi, I'm in Delaware. That's all I know of Delaware. It's like from Wayne's World. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Silver, my mod's also from the UK. Like, so around just like that area. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Leicestershire.
Leicestershire. There we go. That's where he's from. I can never pronounce that correctly.
I've been there once, and that was for a comedy show thing to the Firebug. He might know. It's a pub that also has like a theatre thing.
Yeah, just having private conversations, just like, oh yeah, like, because we know not of what, like, you're talking about. Yeah, Silver says it does ring a bell, yeah. So, he knows.
Okay.
He knows.
Cool.
All right, so let's go ahead now and start wrapping stuff up. And since you are all Twitch content creators, I'm going to let you sell yourselves. So I almost said sell yourselves short. No, don't do that. Don't sell yourselves short. Sell yourselves. So talk about your streams, where you're located on Twitch, social media, when the next time you're going to stream. So Llama, you look all ready to sell yourself. So we'll just start with you.
Hey, so as I was talking about earlier in the intro, I am formerly White Llama Poo Poo. We stream 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday. Not today, though, because I'm here on the Terrorific Talk, so I'm not streaming. Yeah. Anyways, we play a lot of single-player games, mostly story-driven stuff. We just finished God of War, Portal 2. We're on Red Dead 2 now. Got a lot of cool things coming up. Anyways, would love to see you in the petting zoo. You can find us pretty much everywhere at White Llama Show here on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff.
So
anyways,
yeah.
And I wiggle. So if you raid me, I wiggle.
Yes, he does. It's very interesting to see him wiggle. It's worth it to raid him just to see that.
What do you mean by wiggling?
Wiggle?
Yep.
Raid me and find out.
Yeah, raid him and find out. So there you go.
Guess I'll have to.
All right.
I mean, I'll have to keep that in mind, yeah.
All right, Dave, sell yourself.
Okay, well, as I also said in the intro as well, yeah, I'm Dave X90. I stream Monday, Friday, and Sunday, and I have a co-host, which is Steve in the background there, because we're not streaming, he's chilling over there. I play a good bit of Sonic usually on a Sunday, and I tend to go for like adventure platform games, something with a story usually. So I just did Life is Strange on Friday, the second one, and that was pretty fun. And then also some community stuff like Jackbox, Marbles, stuff like that, and whatever else gets thrown in, and chatting as well. So Dave X90 on Twitch, and then on Twitter and Instagram, it's Dave X90 but with a 3 because someone else took the one with the E, because of course they did. I know, grr. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah, hope to see you.
All right, and Zobie, last but not least.
I'm Zobie. You can follow me, Toby. All my socials are Zobie Plays, because Zobie was taken on everything, and the guy who has the tag on Twitter was turd about it, so I don't think I will ever get that. Wow. But I stream a lot of single-player, story-driven RPGs, working on Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. I have a lot of games to play in my backlog, but we're working on it. I don't really have a schedule. I usually stream weeknights, Tuesday through Thursday-ish, Eastern Time, 8 p.m. sometimes. It just depends, but that's where you can check me out if you want to do that.
So whenever your internet decides to cooperate.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely feel your pain there. I think we
all
like
to.
Yeah, I think we all like have, because like I think a common thing too amongst us as streamers is internet. Shitty ass internet. It's man. So I hate to say goodbye, but I promised I would only keep you all for an hour, like especially Dave, since Dave has to do something called, I guess, go to bed. Jeez,
What
what a
sleep.
yeah, what a
What is sleep?
yeah, what a buzzkill.
I'm totally not gonna go and watch YouTube. No, not at all.
No, he's really gonna go to bed.
No, yeah, I'm good at going to bed, but then, it's going
Then
to
he
sleep.
watches
That's
X-Men.
Yeah, there you go.
Usually Twitch, but hey ho.
Whatever works. So, once again, thank you to Llama and Dave and Zobie for coming on to the podcast this evening to talk with me about The Walking Dead. I appreciate all of you taking the time.
No problem at all. Been an absolute pleasure.
It was great.
Yeah. See, I'm glad that you all had a good time. I told you would. And so, and to everybody out there, I will be on streaming in about 2 hours, so at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So starting so that way I can eat. I need to eat. I'm hungry. But to all of you out there, stay terrific, everybody, and bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Can I stop waving?
Yes, you can stop waving now.
Woo!
Yes, you can stop waving now. Guys, that was it. Yeah. Aw, so cute. And you. You missed a perfect opportunity there. Nah, it's okay.